Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Just wanted to come on quickly after that good win against Southampton last night and kind of just discuss some of the stuff we're seeing this morning around what I think are Spurs fans just going way too over the top around that win last night, around the team and just certain players in particular. And just wanted to kind of address that after the win. Now, let's face it, last night, the win good win, good to kind of put a team to the sword that were there for the taking. But that's what they were. Probably some decent amateur sides would probably have given Southampton a decent game last night, and we'll probably get a harder game against Tamworth in the FA Cup. So I think we need to be very careful about not going way too overboard about that result and the way that possibly that's going to impact the season. Like I say, it's great. It's good to see Maddison getting a couple. It was good to see Son get another goal. It was good to see Jed Spence get a game. It was good to see Bergval get a run out in the Premier League. But this morning, the sort of things I'm seeing around certain players like Spence and Bergval, I mean, with Bergval, some people are talking like this is a second coming of Luka Modric or Glenn Hoddle or something on Bergval's performance last night. And, ultimately, again, like as we got to say, judge it against what we were seeing in the opposition you saw. And that opposition last night offered nothing. So, like I say, good amateur players probably would have been able to shine last night. And while Bergval had a reasonable game, I thought, I still felt he gave the ball away sloppily far too often sometimes in dangerous positions. And ultimately, I've not seen anything from him since coming in that I haven't seen from the likes of Winks or Skip when they came on the scene for Spurs. So I'm not going to start talking about this guy of like, oh, he must start the next game, and now Bergval's shown us what we thought he was going to be as a player, because I still wouldn't say we've seen that at all from him. And, it's like Jed Spence, yes, for me, Ange has mistreated him since joining, leaving him out of things like the European squad and everything like that. And so far, from what we've seen of him when he's played, he's done relatively well. And, again, last night, he had a reasonably solid performance last night. But again, just be careful around the opposition we were judging it against. This was a Southampton side that absolutely offered nothing. Now, the test for these players will come if they can produce that sort of performance against Man United in the next game or Liverpool coming up the following weekend. Now, if they start putting in really good performances against those sort of sides, then I'll be starting to sit there and go, right, we may be onto something. But we won't get the luxury of having that sort of performance in those next two games. And knowing how this goes under Ange Postecoglou, anyone getting too excited about that win, and Jamie O'Hara, I'm sure he's fishing, but last night putting out a tweet, Spurs are back. What? Because we beat Southampton 5-0. When you've got fans leaving after 24 minutes, that shows you how bad that team are. And like I say, that was probably one of the worst Premier League performances from a side in the history of the Premier League, let me tell you. So that's how bad they were. And it was only the fact Spurs took the foot off the gas that we didn't score more, because we should have probably had 6, 7, 8, 9 last night easily. But that's not start to get too excited, because the way the season's gone under Ange, we've got 5 last night. We probably go and get beat by United and Liverpool and be back to square one before we know it. So it was a good win. Let's take it that it was the perfect opponents to play, because it was a must-win game for Ange, and he couldn't have hoped for any better opponents than that. But it was a good win, but it was against a team that are going to get that done to them by many other sides this season, not just us. Now we need to see if we can put that sort of performance in against a half decent side. And like I say, as for players, don't get too excited. Don't get too carried away off the back of that performance. And, we do have a tendency to hype players up more than they have been and more than the performances they show. I mean, again, last night, Johnson came on completely ineffective in a game where he should have been looking to go, this is a game where I'm going to add goals, and this is a game where I'm going to have the confidence to run at my defender. And he did none of them again. So let's be very careful what we do, what we say. Like I say, last night, good win, but again, dreadful, dreadful opposition. Myself and Dan will be back tomorrow to talk about that Southampton game in more detail. Join us then. Let me know in the comments what you think after last night's performance. Should we be getting hyped? Or like me, should we just be sort of going, listen, hang on, don't get too excited just yet. It was only Southampton. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe as always, and we'll see you on the next one.